Can you imagine a world without Sawtooth School for Visual Art, and what would that look like to you?
It would certainly be a lot more dull.
I can't imagine a world without Sawtooth. It would be, boring comes to my mind, but there would be a void. There needs to be an art space like Sawtooth.
I'm so pleased to be part of Sawtooth. I can't imagine my life without Sawtooth.
Well, Sawtooth really is the mothership of the arts here in Winston-Salem, and the broader community, truly. If I think about it, Sawtooth really was the launch pad for so many art organizations in our community, including the Arts Council, the first Arts Council in North Carolina, Associated Artists, Piedmont Craftsmen, Arts-Based School. All were birthed from Sawtooth. So from my perspective, we would not be the city of arts and innovation if it weren't for Sawtooth and the community leaders who had the foresight to organize it 80 years ago.
You can't ask for a more impactful organization in the arts than one that leads to other organizations being formed. That is in itself monumental to me. My name is Jane Dabb. I started working here in 1981, and I was teaching at that point. And I think it was in '82 I actually became the fiber department coordinator, and I stayed in that position until the early 2000s. Over the time frame, I did a lot of things, as most people at Sawtooth do. I mean, my main job was to, of course, coordinate classes, recruit teachers, find students sometimes, just, a combination of anything to create an environment that was rich, educational, and fun.
So I was first introduced to Sawtooth in the late 1980s when I was visiting a friend's mother who lived here. And he showed me around town, and one of his first stops was Sawtooth. He described to me the type of classes and programming that Sawtooth had. I was immediately captivated. I'm like, I like this place. This is where I want to be. If I lived in Winston-Salem, I would work here. This is cool. And I didn't realize what a foreshadowing that was.
I remember it just being really, I don't want to use the word messy, but it felt artistic. It felt like artists were here. And I can just remember that feeling of, wow, I can get paint on the floor. I can get paint on the desk. I can make a mess. And it was welcomed, because through that mess becomes a piece of art. And so as a young kid taking classes here, I can just remember it was okay to make a mess. And so my early years I loved coming here because I could do that. At home, you always got to clean up your mess. Here, I could make a mess, and it was actually applauded.
Well, Sawtooth has been a part of my whole professional life. I've been in a relationship with Sawtooth and its predecessor, the Arts and Crafts Association, since I was in high school. My name is Betty Petnati Longinati. I teach fused glass and stained glass here currently, and I have for a number of years. I've had so many students over the years. It's hard to know everybody. So at any rate, I just love having those relationships with all these students that I've taught over the years, and I hope I've had a positive impact. Some students stay with me class after class for years and years and pick me for everything that they can learn from me. The class is also a community for students that come here. They're not coming just to learn a craft or an art form. It's nice to see them interact with each other, and they they're a community. They become friends with each other.
My story starts when I was probably about 9 or 10 years old, and then comes back as I'm entering my, I guess my 70s to teach watercolor here at Sawtooth. For me, it's like coming into this very lovely home environment, and then I walk into, usually sometime during the morning, I walk into the supply closet and think, my gosh, they've got everything you could imagine. The other week we were painting pears, and one of my students said, that had worked at Sawtooth, she was taking the class even though she was on the staff, she said, we have pears back there, Elizabeth. And I said, yeah, pears? And she said, yeah. And she walked back and came back with all these different sized pears, And I said, I can't believe everything I want is in this storage room. If I just go and stand in the middle of it long enough to look for it, it will be there. And I just think it's such a welcoming place.
I always told people, if I wanted to learn something when I was here, I would find the most amazing artist or teacher I could, and I would talk them into coming here to teach. And it could be someone nationally, it could be someone just, in the next town over, but I always thought this was an idea in the making, that I wanted to know how to do it. If it was something new or something ancient, it didn't matter. But others had to want to know how to do it as well. So I always thought it was just the best education I could ever have in the arts.
The community is a very warm and wonderful creative place. Everybody is so eager to just come in, try something new, or stick with what they know just to find that comfort. We have a really great mix of people who are just starting out to people who have been here for decades at this point. And we're all just eager to share what we know, what we learn, and figure out how we can best create something fun. Having this space to come in and learn all different kinds of things and really hone what I'm interested in has been extremely beneficial and just refreshing and rewarding.
I'm Dodie Campbell. I am an instructor here. I've been an instructor almost 20 years, and I've been a staff member for 6.
Hi, I'm Emily Campbell. I was a student here for at least 3 years, and I worked here for 1.
And who is this person sitting next to you?
Oh, my mother.
I feel like as an instructor, it's helped me become a better teacher. It's definitely a different environment. Coming out of school and university is a different kind of environment for art, and then coming to a community center is very different. So it's helped me adapt to what people's needs are, the ways that they're looking to be creative. There's a lot of times that students will ask me to do a certain project, and it's maybe not something that I've done before or something that I was interested in making before, and then I become interested in it and it works its way into my own private practice. I think it's been great to keep my creative juices going as a professional.
It's definitely helped me get ahead in school. So I take a ceramics class at my school, and since I took ceramics classes here previously, I got to focus on being more creative with my work instead of having to figure out the basics, which is really nice.
Well, okay, so I've been a woodworker since I was a small kid. My dad took me to the workshop, and I even started college as an industrial education major. I was going to be a shop teacher. And then, I had a different career. I had a corporate career for 30 years. And I would do some artwork and my woodworking in my garage, but it really was, just for myself and maybe giving gifts and stuff. But once I got involved in Sawtooth, it was enabling me to actually expand what I was doing, my creativity. I think I became more creative in working in this environment.
Okay, it's an embarrassing one, but one of my favorite memories that I love to tell people is when I was the youth director, I had not worked in ceramics. My college let physical education people or physical therapists take all the ceramics, so I couldn't get in when I was at school. So Warren said, if you're going to have teachers that you're over in this discipline, you need to take ceramics, hand building and wheel throwing. Well, I wasn't great at wheel throwing, but I tried my best. So I was like, I can do hand building, and I decided to make a bird bath, and he helped me a bit. But when it came out of the kiln, it had flattened, and he left it on my desk, and he said, well, at least the birds won't drown, because it had flattened, and now I use it as a cake plate.
I love the Taste of Art series because it gives anybody an opportunity to come in and dip their toe in an experience around a particular, in a particular studio. And you don't have to have any experience at all. You don't have to even feel like you're an artist. And you walk out with a piece of art that you created. And it might not be the greatest thing in the whole wide world, but it's something that you made. And I think that is really super cool. And so one of the Taste of Arts that we did is, my spouse and I did together, was creating silver rings. And when we came into the experience, we were just going to make the rings, and we didn't know, what we were doing. And Sarah helped guide us, and the process was fairly easy. And at the end of the evening, a 2-hour evening with some other students and a glass of wine or two, we walked out with these lovely silver rings. And as it turns out, we decided to use these rings as our wedding rings soon after the event. And that just became super special, that we actually created the rings ourselves. And they're beautiful. And I'm glad we had that opportunity.
When you're making something, you're in a different state of mind. It's a very open state of mind. And when you get into the process, it's meditative, because it's very much about that moment that you're in right there, that material that you're holding and shaping. And it's so positive to come through that experience, I feel.
I really feel like art gives people a voice. Either they don't realize they had, or they have the voice but never had the opportunity to express it. When I was the youth director, one of my proudest things was getting the grant for Carter G. Woodson School. And we really cultivated that, and it became a huge staple of my time here, and I was so proud of it. I just couldn't understand. I've always had art in my life, always. My mother was an artist, so to reach children and staff and people who had never experienced a place like Sawtooth, because we were able to bring them on site, but also just giving kids tools. They're like, are we allowed to touch these things? It blew my mind. It changed me forever. That experience changed me forever.
I think, again, it's about community, and it's knowing that my voice is heard, and that when I have something to share about the importance and power of printmaking, there are people that want to listen. And in the times that we are living in, sometimes that's not as clear. So for me, it is a validation of everything I do and believe. It is also a place where you can come, and if you have a harebrained idea, like, for example, let's put on an exhibit of Here Come the Puppets, and it's related to every part of the arts and the history of making things that you can think of. It happens at Sawtooth. So if you need that kind of surprise exuberance, it's here.
So what I've seen over the past 6 years of being on the board is Sawtooth really striving to be more open to the community. Not that we haven't already been, but trying to really make the community aware that we're here. Our doors are wide open. Come take a class, come learn something new, be a part of this family that is, you got to see it to believe it kind of a thing.
Five words. Well, I should have thought about this a little earlier. I would say community. And I just feel very strongly that if we can build strong, healthy communities, our world is a better place.
I would say it is diverse, it is inclusive, it is often a walk through an unknown wild forest that you don't know where you're going, and when you come out at the end, you go, I didn't know that about myself. I think those are 5 words. Okay.
So good.
Community, inspiration, inclusion, accessibility, and I have to use 2 more. My creative home. Yeah.
Can you imagine a world without Sawtooth? What would it look like?
Well, I can imagine a world without Sawtooth, and I do not want to be there, and I don't want this community to be there, because this bridges so many communities that need each other. And it's, I mean, when I think of Sawtooth, I think of it as a creative playground of connections and inclusivity. And without that, it's not the world I want to be in.